Hello, Ramley and other NFL family, especially Patriots family. Welcome in to another episode of MOOF, where we are looking for the most overly optimistic fan in the NFL. We're checking in with one fan from every NFL team to gauge where the optimism level is, because if you can't be optimistic about your team this time of year when everybody is 0-0, when can you be? In tonight's episode, we are talking about the New England Patriots. It's our 24th episode in the series. You can go back and watch any of the others. They've been a blast. Really enjoyed talking to all these fantastic fans. And the fan I am talking to tonight is the nicest, kindest Patriots fan in the entire world. I have no doubt that you're going to enjoy chatting with him in the chat as much as I am going to in this interview. His name is Mike. He's been a Patriots fan for a long time. We're going to learn more about him and the New England Patriots prediction right after this. Mike, welcome to the show. How are you doing, man?
Hey Zach, I'm doing great, man. How are you doing? I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, Mike, we are thrilled to have you as part of MOOF. It's going to be a great episode. The Patriots are a team that's, some question marks, and we're going to talk about that. But before we, do Grandize is looking for a good old Boston accent, but I don't know if you're going to find it with Mike. uh, but we're going to have a fun time here. Shout out Grandizer and John. Thanks for tuning on in, and everyone tuning in. And we got Jake. There's no such thing as nice Pats, man. By being a Jake is a Bills fan, just so you know.
Well, Jake, I hope to change your mind tonight.
Well, we're gonna have a lot of fun here. But Mike, we always love to start this off. How did you become a Patriots fan? And who are some of your favorite players? Do you own any jerseys of the team?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been a Patriots fan for about, I would say about 22 years now. I'm 30 years old. I have a young looking face, but I am 30. And I became a Pats fan through association from my dad. In the 80s, he did traveling with a choir, and they went through Massachusetts a lot, and he became a Pats fan in the 80s. And so kind of growing up, the game would always be on Sunday, and I kind of just fell in love with the Patriots. And then, of course, you couldn't go wrong having Tom Brady as the quarterback when you're starting to watch the game of football. So I was very, very, very blessed to have that man as a quarterback to start my career.
And Mike, I do have to point out something here that we have 4 people watching, and I know 3 of the people here. We have a Jets fan and John here from Pure Gen Fan Sports. Jake is a Bills fan, and Grandizer is a Dolphins fan. So the AFC East gets concluded tonight in MOOF, and so I'm sure they're all excited to hear from you. And SM, good to see you as well. He's rooting for Mac Jones. But
yeah, it's perfect.
So you mentioned Tom Brady, but are there any other Patriot players that you really loved growing up?
Yeah, so I loved Randy Moss when he was a Patriot. I just loved the connection between him and Brady on the field. I think that was a pivotal move in our franchise to get him, because Brady really hadn't had too many number one wide receivers at that point. And so to get Randy Moss was huge. What can you say though about guys like Edelman and even Danny Woodhead back in the day? You have Dante Hightower, Mayo. I loved all those guys. Gronk, of course. Gronk was legendary. And then, I don't know. I fell in love. And, the first few years when you're starting to watch the game of football, you're sometimes still learning the players on the team, and they change a lot. So my real recollection started coming about mid 2000s there with some of the players. And it's when I really fell in love with the game of football. I for sure fell in love with the Patriots. And so a lot of people say, "Oh, you're a bandwagoner because they won so much." I'm not. I just was lucky enough to grow up in a time where they were winning so much, and I'm sure I would have been a fan of them no matter what, because my dad was a fan of them in the '80s, the '90s, and so that was
Okay.
yeah.
And I see Jake here is pointing out that Bills fans and Jets and Dolphins fans are normally mad at each other, but when a Pats fan around, they're all friends. We're gonna have a fun time tonight. One quick question here from Michael. Thanks for tuning on in. Is are you still confident in Bill Belichick's coaching?
That is a great question, because there have been lots of things that I'll be honest, that I question sometimes because I just don't understand the moves sometimes that he's making. At the same time, I do trust in Bill. I do trust that he's gonna get the best that he can at this point out of his roster. But maybe the roster construction makes me question some things a little bit about this team right now. But I think from what we do have, and we still have lots of talent on the team, I do believe that Bill is. I mean, people are going to maybe disagree, but I still think he's probably the greatest coach of all time. And, he had Brady, sure, but you have to have good coaching and, generational talent to do what they did. So you couldn't, so I feel like Bill is still a good coach. So I'm confident, but I'm not without some questions in our roster right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
And shout out to Ramelia's Sports Report. And we don't need to talk about the Patriots taking 2 Super Bowls from the Rams. If Mike was not so nice, then I don't know if I could contain my frustration at that. But I guess one final question here from Grand Eyes. So before we get into the prediction, is there a draft pick that you really loved or wanted? The Patriots picked in the 2022 draft. He says he loved the Cole Strange pick, and also the Marcus Jones pick.
Yeah. The Cole Strange one to me was a bit of a strange pick, no pun intended, because I feel like he probably could have gone later on in the draft. I felt like we reached for him, but at the same time, they felt like we have to replace Shaq Mason. So I guess they felt that he was the best available option. So that's like one of the moves I was like, I don't know. If I'm honest, though, I love the Tariq Thornton draft pick in the second round, the wide receiver, because one of the things about the Patriots is, while we love using the tight end as our main passing system, and we did pick up Devontae Parker in the offseason from the Dolphins. Thank you very much, Miami. But but listen, you guys got Tyreek Hill, so I'm not complaining too much. But one of the things about the Patriots is we struggle with speed. We don't have a lot of guys that can just break open up the field, and if Thornton can do that a little bit, he's very fast. He's a little small, but he's very fast. Then I think that gives us another element in our offensive game that can allow Mac Jones to continue to grow a bit more.
Okay.
So I did love that pick. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's get into this here. So again, this is Mac Jones' second season, and he's going to start off with the New England Patriots on the road. You're traveling to Miami, starting off with a divisional game right off the bat. Is this a Devontae Parker revenge game? Do you think the Pats are going to start off with a win here?
So as long as I've been a Patriot fan, we've always struggled with Miami. We may have won, but the games were always close, or they would just outright beat us. And so these Miami games are very hard to predict because I'm confident that we can beat them. But I think week 1, the momentum, because we're on the road, the momentum that is Miami's going to have with the new acquisitions that they've got and everything, I think we start the season off with a loss, to be honest with you. I think we lose to Miami.
Okay. All right. So that's 0-1 to start the year. Again, week one, so weird,
Yeah,
weird.
you just won't know.
Yep. And Romelia, thanks for that fun fact about Jim Everett, the Rams history there. I do see Grandizer's predicting an L. We see Jake with he's L thinking the Dolphins went off of a safety. John, our Jets fan, is thinking that the Finns lose this to the Pats. And then Carl, good to see you. He's saying Pats fan here. What up, man? We have great representation from the AFC East.
Welcome, Carl.
Yeah. Okay, so start off 0-1, and then you continue the road trip. You're traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers, win or lose in Pittsburgh.
So I think the Patriots regroup, and I don't trust the quarterback situation right now in Pittsburgh. I don't think that they're going to be, at least to start the year, really gelling on offense. So I do think the Patriots come out and win that week and start the season off 1-1.
Okay, all right, so 1-1. And then your first home game of the year, the home opener, in week 3, you welcome in the Baltimore Ravens. Win or lose?
That is going to be a win as well.
Okay.
Yes, I know Baltimore's good. They got all this hype. I get it. I like Lamar Jackson too. I think he's a good quarterback. But I just feel like, again, home opener, you got that energy up a bit more. And so I think the Patriots will win that game. It'll be close, but they'll win.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So 2-1. And I'm going to take a quick look at the chat here. A couple of wins against Baltimore there. I'm seeing an L. Jake saying that he thinks that Trubisky learned from Josh. And then Michael is predicting a win against the Steelers. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. And Jake also predicts an L for the Patriots there. But you predicted 2-1, and then you have a game here. You're traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Win or lose in Green Bay?
I believe that's going to be a loss. Green Bay, again, until Aaron Rodgers proves that, at least in the regular season, he can't do it, then that's still a good team in Green Bay. So I think that will be a loss because we have to travel on the road.
Okay. That's 2-2. And I forgot to mention this. Anyone watching live with us now, we appreciate you tuning in. Feel free to predict alongside Mike in the chat. You can put a W if you think the Patriots are going to win. Put an L in there if you think they're going to lose. And you know who you are. You always, every episode, predict a tie. If you think they're going to tie, you are allowed to do that as well. But everyone on this channel knows I hate ties in football.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
2-2, and then you have a week 5 matchup. You welcome the Detroit Lions to New England. The Lions are getting a little bit of offseason hype. Any concerns about losing to the Lions in week 5 in Foxborough?
No, I don't. I'm not concerned about the Lions. Listen, good for them that they're getting this hype and what they've been doing, but I just don't see them coming to Foxborough and beating us there. I still don't think they're going to be improved, but not that much, I don't think. So.
Okay. And Jake has so far predicted you 0-4. Curious what he thinks about the Lions. We're going a couple of wins in Green Bay, win in Detroit there, and he predicts the Lions are going to beat the Patriots. Okay, that's fair. So 3-2, and then you travel to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Win or lose in Cleveland?
I think that's a win because I don't think Deshaun Watson's playing quarterback for them this year. I just don't see that happening. So
if he is playing, does that change your answer?
Not really. I think they're just dysfunctional as an organization still. They try their best, and they had a couple better years, but I just don't see them doing much this year. I think there's just too much dysfunction around that team. So I think the Patriots go in and beat the Browns.
Okay. Okay. So that's 4-2 on the year. And I see Michael did predict a tie against Detroit there. Couple of wins there against the Browns. Jake saying the Browns should never win again. And yeah, they agree with you as the dysfunctional team. And I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
And okay, you have a weird game here.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday game. Is this overseas?
I don't. Who's it against?
You're welcoming the Bears.
The Bears.
Let me take a look here. Sorry, this is a weird game.
Yeah, because I know that's not Thanksgiving yet, because that game's against the Vikings. So,
Yeah. If anyone in the chat knows what is up with it's, I'm on the schedule right now. It says it's on a Tuesday, on the 25th of October. I'm going to look into that. Mike, could you give us your thoughts towards this Bears game?
Yeah, that's again. This isn't me being a homer. This is more just looking at the other team on the other side, and I think that's a win. I don't think the Bears are that good either. Again, and they're not Cleveland level dysfunctional, but they're just not a great organization right now. And so I just don't trust the product that they're going to put on the field. So I believe the Patriots go in and win that game.
Okay, fair enough. And I'm realizing now the schedule. I've never seen this before, folks. I normally have the ESPN schedule onto me. Their schedule is actually wrong. They say this game is Tuesday the 25th, and it is not that. So I knew that caught me for a loop. Sorry about that, folks.
I was looking earlier. I didn't see a Tuesday, but I was like, maybe I missed something. I don't know.
That's so weird. But I've never seen the ESPN schedule. That's such a weird thing. Okay, interesting. So you're 5-2 on the year after a win over the Bears in your prediction. And thank you for helping me out, Grandizer, there, checking that in. But there's a couple. Oh, Jake is predicting an L. He thinks the Bears are going to beat the Patriots. Wait, no, Tuesday. That's funny, Michael. Oh, you guys, the chat is on fire tonight. It's awesome.
I love it.
So we're 5-2. And then your first matchup, you travel to MetLife to take on the New York Jets. Win or lose in the Meadowlands.
Win all day, baby. Win all day.
Okay.
Listen, Jets, show me that you guys can do a bit more to start the year and maybe get a bit more respect, but I still don't just think it changes overnight for an organization. So I think that's a win. And I know we have a Jets fan or a couple Jets fans in this chat, and nothing against you guys personally. I just think your organization is not that great. So I believe the Patriots going into the MetLife and they beat the Jets.
Okay. That's 6-2 on the year. Shout out Silly Fun Guy. Good to see you as always. We gotta give a shout out here to John, our Jets fan, saying Jets, no chance for the Pats. Don't even get off the and Jake is predicting a tie for this game.
Wow, there's gonna be a lot of ties for the Patriots.
Yeah. Apparently.
That's first.
That's 6-2 prediction on the year, and then interesting game here, week 9.
Yeah.
You welcome the Indianapolis Colts to New England. I know that the Colts kind of embarrassed you guys last year.
Yes, they did.
That was kind of a tougher game for Pats fans.
That was tough because that would have helped us with the division and changed a lot of the outlook of it. So that was a tough game. Yeah.
So are you saying is this a bit of a revenge game? Are the Pats going to win this one, win or lose?
I think actually that's might be a loss on the schedule. I do, although I don't love Wentz as a quarterback. I still think there's a lot of talent in Indy, and
Well, they have Matt Ryan now. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's true. I'm sorry. It is Matt Ryan. That's my bad. Yeah, well, he hasn't had luck against the Patriots. So. Maybe if we get down 28-3 in that game, then I'll like our chances of winning. But no, but I think that will be a loss. I have a weird feeling about that game. I think it's a game we probably could win, should win, but I think that's a loss on the schedule. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see a couple of votes coming in the chat here as well. So that is 6-3 through 9 weeks of the year. And that does bring us to the Patriots bye week, which means it is time for
Bye Week Hot Takes. The hottest takes on the bye week.
Yes, it is time for Bye Week Hot Takes, the part of the show where we take a little break from predictions and we take various hot takes about that team from all corners of the internet, Twitter, random comment sections on Reddit, and things like that. And we bring them here. I try to find ones that are pretty consistent, and we get our guests' raw reaction. Michael has not seen any of these. He's going to be reacting raw, and let us know in the chat and comments below what you think as well to these hot takes. So the first one, the Patriots offense will be hard to watch with the loss of offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels to the Raiders.
Yeah, that
on the board.
Yeah, that it scares me that Joe Judge is probably going to be taking over the quarterback coaching there with Mac Jones, because I saw what Joe Judge did in New York with the Giants, and not good. Let's be honest. So I think it depends on how much control he actually gets and how much Bill takes over. Because I think if it's under the name of Joe Judge, of him kind of taking control, then it could be rough. But I think if it's Bill who takes a bit more control of the offense, then I think it could be fine. The system's in place. You just have to have somebody that can execute it. And so that comes down to Mac and the players on the field. So, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. And I'm really curious to see how Josh McDaniel does with the Raiders, and how much of this Patriots offense really did rely on him. And so it's give me an interesting year for this Patriots offense for sure.
For sure.
Second hot take: Bill Belichick needs to be done as GM of the Patriots. The guy can't draft anymore. Mac Jones has no one to throw the ball to.
Bill Belichick, 5-10 years ago, great GM. If I'm honest with you, I haven't loved a lot of the moves that we've made. And I feel like he just needs to stick to coaching and we bring somebody else in. But I don't think it's possible. I think the control that Bill has with his legacy won't allow that to happen unless he said it was going to happen. Mac Jones, I mean, I understand your point. There's not a lot there. Devontae Parker, I do like, but he has to stay healthy. That's his biggest problem is he hasn't stayed healthy. And so if he can stay healthy, great option. And you got, Bourne and Aguilar there that are, they're fine, right? And that's why I was like, I love the second round pick, but then here I am relying on a second round pick to kind of help change the look of our offense. And it's that expecting a lot of a guy who's not named Jamar Chase. I don't know, right? So, you know what? I would be okay if he was done as GM, but I don't see it happening. And I think this is just the way it's going to be. So I've come to the realization that it's going to probably be this way. And so I'm okay with it because he's done well in the past. But some moves, had me questioning a little bit.
Okay, that's fair. And for the record, this was taken from a New England Patriots fan. So that seems to be something in the New England fandom that is a conversation for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, final hot take here. I'd like to end off on a positive note here. Bill Belichick will prove he is the greatest head coach this season by upsetting the Bills and winning the AFC East. I'll caveat this. This came once again from a Twitter space, which I have really enjoyed listening to. It was a Patriots fan that was getting hot, and he was quite adamant that Bill Belichick is the greatest coach, and he is going to analyze the Bills after being embarrassed by them. And he was passionately, supportive of his coach. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, again, as the coach, I think he's the greatest ever. I think he is the greatest ever. I don't think he has to prove anything that he's the greatest ever, to be honest. But listen, all I'm going to say is don't sleep on a Bill Belichick team. And I'll say this for the Bills fans in this chat. I love your team. I think they're fantastic. I love Josh Allen. I love the moves that you guys made. I think you guys, on paper, talent-wise, are the best team in the division. But there's that element of doing it in the big moment. And you guys almost did it last year. You almost did it last year against the Chiefs. That was a crazy game and everything. But I believe that, the fan, he might be going to the far extreme. I could see the Patriots upsetting the Bills and winning the East. But at the same time, I respect a lot of what the Bills are doing and what they've done and what they're building there. But I will never bet against, if I bet, I would never bet against a Bill Belichick-led team just because you just don't know what he's got up his sleeve. So,
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Well, I always enjoy hearing our fan reactions to the hot takes. So this has been
Bye-Week Hot Takes, the hottest takes on the bye week.
Yes, that was Bye-Week Hot Takes. Let us know what you think, and if there's any questions or hot takes, we're gonna finish our predictions, but we'll have some time afterwards to kind of go over. And I've already started a few comments there to go back to. So before the bye week, you had the Patriots going 6-3 to start the year, and then in week 11, you welcome in for the second time the New York Jets. Are you predicting a sweep of the Jets?
There will be a sweep of the Jets.
Okay.
Yeah, there will be a sweep of the Jets. Like I said, Mac Jones is better than Zach Wilson. And so and no disrespect to Zach Wilson, I think that's more of a product of maybe the system he was placed in. But I feel like, you need a good quarterback to win in this league. And I just feel like Mac is improving a lot. He had a really good rookie season, and he looks like he's in better shape this year. He looks like he's just he's dialed in more. He's studying. He's being coaches to the facility every day. He's doing all this, and so I think based on that alone, the Patriots are going to sweep the Jets.
Okay, all right. Well, that puts you up to 7-3 on your prediction there, and I see SM agreeing with you, the sweep of the Jets, and Grandizer does think it's going to be an L to the Jets there. So always interesting, those divisional rival games here. So a bit of a weird spot of your schedule here. You are traveling you have a short week here. You're traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The short week, any concerns about this game here?
The short week concerns me because we're traveling on the road. If we were at home on a short week, I think it's a little different. I don't really love any of the NFC North teams outside of Green Bay, but I feel like that could be almost a scheduled loss for the Patriots. Just because they're coming off that short week and they're going into mini. So I think that could be a loss there.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's 7-4 on the year. And I will shout out John, our Jets fan. He disagrees with you about the Jets. And Jake thinks it's going to be an L on the Vikings. So does Grandizer as well. And then, that is the Thanksgiving Day game.
Yeah.
And so it is a primetime game. That's exciting. But then this is the weird part is the very next Thursday, you play Thursday Night Football again in prime time. So back-to-back primetime games. And you are playing for the first time of the year, the Buffalo Bills, division rivals. This game is in New England. Win or lose, first matchup on the Bills.
We're winning that one, baby. Yeah, we're winning that one. Yeah, that's going to be the Belichick factor. I mean, last year's game was kind of crazy with the weather, and the Patriots just basically ran the ball the whole game, and they won. You can't predict the weather, but you never know what the weather is going to be at that time of year in New England as well. And so I see the Bills being confident, but the Patriots also frustrated after losing, and Bill has got that week to prepare for the Buffalo. I think that's a win for the Patriots.
Okay. All right. Well, I do see a couple of W's in the chat mixed in. Jake says, our Bills fan says, make us punt in a non-windy game and I'll give you a chance.
You never know, Jake. Maybe. Who knows? Again, that will happen.
All right. So you're 8-4 on your prediction.
Yeah.
And then you travel to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. So Ramley's going to be cheering you on. Win or lose week 14 against the Cardinals.
Well, if Kyler Murray starts to study film, it might be a loss. But I think Cardinals are frauds a little bit, and I don't think they're going to be that good. Like they started great last year and struggled at the end. I think it could be something similar because they do have talent. They have the talent. They have got talent, but I just don't think they're constructed well enough as a whole. And so I think that's a win.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see a couple of L's in the chat, and Jake saying that Kyler's going to do his independent study that week.
Just for that week alone.
Yeah. He'll maybe do the 8 hours that week, double it.
Yeah, it might do.
Okay, so you're 9-4 on your prediction, and then you're traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders and primetime Sunday Night Football. You have the Josh McDaniels versus Bill Belichick narrative in there. That'll be exciting for football fans. Win or lose in Las Vegas.
This is one game I've been honestly contemplating a little bit because I just I don't know. Josh McDaniels, I don't know what he's going to be like as a coach if he's learned from his time in Denver, so and learned a bit more. But I feel like Belichick is gonna, not that he doesn't prep the guys hard, but I think there's going to be a little bit of extra prep that week just to make a point that I'm better than any of the guys that are below me or as assistants who went on to do coaches, and so I'm going to go with a W. I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
Taking you to 10 wins on the year. I see Grandizer. Every episode he predicts at least one tie, and he is predicting a tie here.
Both know each other.
Then Jake is saying another L for the Jake. I'm really curious to what your record prediction is, because I don't think you've picked the Patriots to win a single game this year. Michael thinks you're getting a W against the Raiders here, so this keeps it interesting. So you're 10-4 on your prediction, and then week 16 you welcome in the defending AFC champions, the Cincinnati Bengals, to Foxborough. Win or lose?
That's going to be a loss.
Okay.
Coming back from the West Coast, it's harder on the legs to adjust back again to the East. So I feel like the legs might not be there. And what can you say about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and the talent that Cincinnati has? Like, I don't know if they're Super Bowl contending again, but that's going to be a decent team for a while as long as Joe can stay healthy, and they've got that. So I think that's a loss, I believe, for the Patriots. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So 10-5 on the year then, and then you're finishing off the season with 2 divisional matchups here, and you had them. I believe you said they were going to beat the Dolphins the first time.
No, they lost.
Oh, right. So that was week 1. Yes, you said they lost to the Dolphins the first time. Are you predicting the Pats get swept by the Dolphins, or are you going to split with them? This one's in New England, win or lose in week 17.
We'll split. We're going to win that week.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to win that week. We're going to split with the Dolphins. Just, again, I just think they'll be motivated coming off a loss again. And I think that could be a big game. I think records could be very similar at that point of the year between both the Dolphins and the Patriots. But I do believe that they'll split because I think they're on paper fairly even. If I'm like, the Dolphins have improved a lot, and so I could see them splitting this series. Yeah.
Okay, and we gotta give a shout out to Grandizer here, saying, because he's our Dolphins fan, he's saying it's an L. It's a New Year's Day game. Historically, Miami wins at the end of the season versus the Patriots. And Jake, of course, predicted an L. Tyree. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so you're 11-5, and your final game of the year, you're traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. This could be a huge game. What are your thoughts? And are you predicting a win? You predicted a win earlier with the Bills. Are you going to be so bold to say you sweep the Bills this year?
Zach, my friend, the New England Patriots are going to sweep the Buffalo Bills this year. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. We're going to go in there. I think it's a big game.
Yeah.
It's either going to be for 2 reasons. One is because the game it's for the division, or it could have impact on playoff seeding. Or number 2, Buffalo is so far ahead, they're resting their starters. I don't see the Patriots jumping so far ahead of the Bills, but I could see the Bills having a really good year, and at that point of the year, and maybe rest their starters in the last week. If not, I think if it comes down to this is a win-all game, I know what happened last year. I'm not dumb, but I've also seen the history of these 2 teams play before, and I know the Patriots have dominated the Bills in the past, and I just think Bills got that factor for Mac Jones to learn from last year as well. Just these motivation guys, and so I'll be honest. I predict the Patriots are going to beat the Bills in the final week of the season. Call me crazy, but I see it happening, and I'm going to stick with it. And listen, it's nothing against the Bills, believe me, but I just think the Patriots can do it.
Okay. So just we'll go to the chat in a sec, guys. See some comments coming in here, but you are predicting a 12-5 record for the Patriots. And if you're watching live with us now, I'd love if you put your record in the chat just to see what your prediction is on the Patriots. I will just say a general, when I'm looking at the schedule, the Patriots do have this one really tricky spot where they have a road game on a short week in Minnesota, and then the Thursday game the following week, you're at home, but it's the Buffalo Bills. And then you have 2 road games in a row where you're going Arizona, then Las Vegas, and then you play the Bengals, and then finish off with 2 divisional games late in the year. That is a tough way to end your season.
Listen, that's a gauntlet. That's a gauntlet of an ending, right?
Yeah.
But that's where you separate the men from the boys, and I feel like if the Patriot team's going to be serious, then my prediction is what it's gonna what I believe it could be. And so I was looking at that and I'm like, oh man, and there are a lot of primetime games in there too, right? They're all like 8:15 or 8:20, and so there's a lot of spotlight, but I think it's an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity for the Patriots to say we're real, right? And if it goes the complete opposite way, then we know what they are. But this is strictly my opinion.
Yeah.
And and I looked at that and I'm like, oh, there's a couple of games, that Las Vegas game made me question. I'm like, it could be a loss, but but then for other reasons, I'm like, you know what, I'm leaning more to a win. But yeah, no, it's a tough ending to the season for the Pats. It is for sure, but let's see what they're made of.
Well, let's go to the chat here a little bit. Thank you, Grandizer, for that friendly reminder about the charity live stream September 8th. Really looking forward to that, to raise money for food insecurity around the world. So Grandizer I love it when he puts the Vegas odds that they have over 8.5 wins. He is predicting a 10-6-1 record. We got Nene with a 15-3 record in here.
Whoa.
That's
awesome.
Jake, being the great sport that he is, I know he's been giving out a lot of L's, but he is honestly thinking they go 6-11. He thinks Bill Belichick's a fraud and Mac Jones takes a step back. Then Michael's saying a 10-7, just like last year. The Pats play 4 AFC teams at the end of the it's tough. It's very tough. Quentin, good to see you. He's saying Buffalo will sweep the Pats. Pats may not make the playoffs. Go Cowboys. So thanks, Quentin, for coming in. I appreciate you there. And we got the NFC West Network coming on in. Good to see you as always. Well, Michael, this has been a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Pats, but also the entire AFC East. I think this is a year that this division is going to be a lot more competitive. I'll let Jake have his one last trash talk comment here of how can you say you're going to beat the Bills twice when you couldn't make us plan into, Jake? Well, we'll see. Is that a hot take? Will the Patriots make the Bills punt this year?
Yes, I think we'll make them punt this year.
Awesome. Well, everyone, this has been another episode of MOOF. Tune in Sunday, I believe 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be doing the Giants in episode 25. We're getting so close to 32 teams. It's been a great series, and appreciate everyone tuning in here live or on the replay. We will see you in the next episode of MOOF.